Hi, today we're going to practice sewing seams. You're going to do two seams that are two different widths apart because those are the seams that we're going to be using for the projects in class. You're going to be using a brown camouflage fabric and a blue camouflage fabric, and you can tell the difference between those two. Now you'll notice that this fabric has a wrong side, which isn't as colorful. Don't get so close. And a right side. That's going to make a difference in my directions. I will tell you to either put wrong sides together, which means the wrong sides are touching, or I will tell you to put right sides together, which means they're like this with right sides touching. Or sometimes I tell young kids that right sides are kissing when it's right sides together, and it should look like it's inside out. All you can see is the wrong side. For the first seam, you're going to put wrong sides together. So I'm going to put these blue camouflage, wrong sides together so I can see the right side, and I'm going to be sewing this edge of the fabric. So what I'm doing is lining up these two cut, or we call them raw edges, together so that it looks like just one edge. And when you have them lined up, you need to pin these two edges together so they don't shift. Whenever you pin, you stick in and you stick back out, so the head and the tip of the pin are on top, just like you did on your t-shirt. Now this fabric isn't very long, it's just a sample for practice, so it's only going to take about 2 pins. Making sure those two raw edges are together. Then you're ready to sew. And like any other seam, we're going to back stitch beginning and end to reinforce that seam. Now when I say that this is going to be a 1/2 inch seam allowance, a seam allowance is the distance from the edge of the fabric to where the needle actually sews and where your stitches will appear when you're finished. To do a 1/2 inch seam allowance, on the throat plate, there are several lines marked. There is a red line that's marked 1/4, there's a purple line, and there's a black line labeled 1/2. That's if you have the colored tape on your throat plate. If you have an engraved throat plate, you'll need to look at the fractions and you'll be looking for the 4/8 line on your throat plate. 4/8, if you reduce that down in fractions, equals 1/2. So I'm going to put the edge of the fabric on that 1/2 inch line. And remember, like you did on your t-shirts, to back stitch, we're going to put the fabric to the back of the presser foot, put the presser foot down, and we're going to reverse and sew backwards to the back. And then we're going to go forward. And where I'm watching is not where the needle is. I'm not watching between the toes. I am keeping the edge of the fabric right along the 1/2 inch line. I'm watching right here. Stop. So I'm watching right along this black line all the way down. So my stitching is actually a 1/2 inch away from the edge of the fabric. Now if I'm right along that 1/2 inch line, I shouldn't be able to see it very much, just have it peeking out mostly, and always being able to see that green. Okay, when you get to the end, reverse for about a 1/2 inch, which brings the fabric back to the front of the presser foot.